I know. Don't be mad at me. It's been a long time. But so what happened was I took a little vacation from work and a little vacation from YouTube as well. Let me get this right. Um so yeah, so I took a vacation. Didn't go anywhere, but just took some time off and um just relaxed. I mean, I went home and saw family in South Carolina. I've been back and forth. I've been on the move, but not too far, but just around here in Georgia and South Carolina. So, but that's what I've been up to. That's what I've been doing. Just relaxing, enjoying my break, taking it easy. Today's my first day back to work since the 1st of July. So, yeah, so it's been a little break, 18 days. But yeah, I'm getting back into the swing of things here. And let's see, I'm not pregnant. That's another thing. We have decided that our next step probably most likely will be IVF, but not at the cost of us going in debt. So, yeah. So basically, it probably won't be this year. Hopefully next year. But I get out of the military next year, so that would mean a change in insurance, and I have to see how that works out, where we're gonna go, what insurance we're gonna get, what job I'm gonna get, and then figure out this IVF portion. But I did go and meet with the doctor to see how much it will cost for us, and I went and asked questions, any questions that I had, and she answered them. And then I found a study online for IVF study, research study, in which they were testing two commonly used medications to see which one produced more follicles, and how the pregnancy went, whether it was a full-term pregnancy or a miscarriage. So they basically was just testing the two medications that they already use in IVF. And so I went to another clinic because my clinic didn't offer that. And so when I went to the other clinic, they tested me. The qualifications were you had to be between the age of 25 and 35, I think. And you had to have a BMI of 25% or lower. And you had to, you couldn't have any failed cycles due to not producing enough follicles. And you had to have an AMH over 5. So I called the lady. I was like, yeah, I'm not a client there. I'm not a patient there. But I want to see if I qualify for this IVF study. If I had to qualify, participants, it's not necessarily free, but you only have to pay like almost like a third of it, and not the whole thing. So it's like, it would be like $3,000 instead of like the full $10,000. But so I went there. I didn't know what AMH was, so I didn't know what my AMH level was. And so I went and got a copy from my clinic of my records, and I went to the new clinic where they was doing the study, and I took my records there so they could look it over or whatever. And they looked at my records and was like, okay, well, we need to do your AMH. And so they did my AMH. Said, we'll call you in like a week. So they called me the next week, and they said my AMH, So this is what concerned me. So I did have like a little mini stressful half of a day. So they said my AMH level was a 0.66. And then there was a doctor from the IVF research clinic that called me. It's not just a research clinic, it's a real fertility clinic too. So he basically told me I didn't qualify for the IVF study, but that he would take me on as a new patient there at his clinic, if I wanted to do IVF with him. And then while I was there for that study, of course, I have no ties to any clinic, but I did get price quotes on a regular IVF cycle versus my clinic that I've been going to for the past year. And my clinic is like $1,000 cheaper after all the medications and stuff. So, and I was like, well, I'd rather save $1,000. So, and but he was basically saying, yeah, I'll take you on as a patient, you know. And I asked him because I specifically asked my my doctor at my clinic about the diminished ovarian reserve. And I asked her, that was one of our first conversations. I was like, do I have diminished ovarian reserve? Because the first thing people try to do when they're trying to conceive is self-diagnose. And so and it was bothering me at the time to be in unexplained infertility. And so I wanted to diagnose myself to figure out what was wrong. And I asked her, because there was another YouTuber that was unexplained infertility, and then she found out that she had diminished ovarian reserve. So I asked her, I said, do I have diminished ovarian reserve? And she was like, no, there's no way that you have that. And she's like, we test for that, your levels are good. So of course, when this new doctor from this other clinic tells me that my AMH is 0.66, and he was like, for a 28-year-old, the normal range is between a 2 and a 3. And I was like, okay. So this study was actually, they wanted high responders. So basically, a lot of people with PCOS, they have a higher ovarian reserve because they don't release eggs normally. So their ovarian reserve is high. So I think that study was targeting people with high reserve or people with PCOS. But anyway, so, but he said the normal range for a 28-year-old was 2 to 3. And mine was a 0.66. And so, and I know there was a YouTuber, I can't remember her name, but she has diminished ovarian reserve, and her AMH was a 0.57. And her FSH was low too. FSH kind of measures the quality, and the AMH measures the quantity. So I didn't have the numbers for my FSH or AMH for my my clinic, my original clinic. So he was like, yeah, we'll take you on, we can get a free second opinion, and then you can just transfer your referral over to us. And I was like, okay, I'm going to talk to my husband, I'll let you know. But I really didn't feel the need to switch my clinic, So, of course, when I got off the phone with him, it was pretty late. He called me after hours. It was like 6:30. And so, on a weekday. So, I was like, okay, well, this is bothering me. I got on Google, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? Like, why didn't they tell me this before? Why didn't my clinic test for this? What's going on? Because they just let me do all of this stuff when I probably should have just went straight to IVF anyway. And so I was kind of upset. My husband's telling me, calm down. And this was actually like my peak ovulation day. And so I was just too stressed. I was stressed, and so for like a half a day. And so I decided what would ease my mind, I was going to email my RE and just let her know what was on my mind, what I was stressing about. And I emailed her and asked her, I told her my AMH level was 1.66 at this. I was trying to qualify for this IVF study. But he said my AMH level was a 1.66, and it's supposed to be between the 2 and the 3. Like, have we ever tested this before? What's going on? And I asked her my FSH level, like, is that normal? Like, do I qualify? Then I asked her specifically, do I qualify? Am I, diagnosed with diminished ovarian reserve? And then, so, of course, the next morning, when the clinic opened at 8 o'clock, I was waiting on my phone call or my email. Then I called back to the clinic and I left a message. I was like, yeah, I had some questions concerning my AMH levels. This is, Brittany, could you call me back? Left my phone number, and she called me back. After I bugged her, she called me back and she explained to me that they also test for AMH, the AMH levels, and they've tested it every time I did my IUI. They've tested it twice since I've been there, and my level has been 2.06. She said there has to be either there was an error in their lab results, or they mixed my blood up with someone else. Somebody lying. So that made me feel better. I asked my husband, should I just tell him to go ahead and draw it and test it again? And he was like, no, just leave it alone. Because what she explained to me was the next step would have been IVF anyway. So, but that was very, very, very concerning to me. And I always thought, like, if I knew what was wrong, like, it would feel better. And just to think that, a possibility of me not being able to use my own eggs, that I wouldn't want to do that. Like, I really would want to use my own eggs. I wouldn't want to have to get donor eggs. So, and then she also told me that my FSH levels were normal. So quality, you ever heard the saying, quality over quantity? So I'm actually happy about that. So even if the other clinic, their results were true for whatever reason, I'm happy that my FSH level is higher, is normal. That means, my quality is okay. So I'm definitely gonna do IVF for my next step. Hopefully I produce a lot of embryos and I'll be able to freeze some, so that way, if we want to have some in my 30s, mid 30s, it'll be there and ready. But yeah, I gotta go to work, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.